The key aim of the inclusive education policy is to ensure that all students are provided with the opportunity to access and participate in learning, regardless of their social and cultural backgrounds, or any unique learning needs or disabilities they may have. There are numerous APSTs that relate to this policy. However, one in particular is APST 1.6, Strategies to Support Full Participation of Students with Disabilities. The incorporation of this teaching standard was observed on my placement, where I observed how the school catered to a student with a severe vision impairment. The student was provided with a teacher aid and special equipment to allow him to read and work on the same learning activities that his peers were working on. The school also allowed him to have his hair longer than the policy allows, so that he could use his fringe to cover his damaged eye and make him feel more comfortable. One example of how the inclusive education policy can influence my teaching practices is that I will strive to ensure that individual needs of all of my students are met when planning my lessons. This will mean allocating extra resources and time to help students with learning disabilities to ensure they receive the assistance required to reach their learning potential. This policy will influence my teaching identity by making me strive to be a teacher that provides a safe and supportive learning environment for all of my students. In order to do so, I will aim to build a personal relationship with all of my students to ensure they trust me and feel comfortable in my classroom. I will aim to be a trusted role model that students can always feel comfortable coming to, regardless if it's for learning or personal matters. One professional learning need that I'll focus on developing over the next 3 years is my ability to communicate and teach children with disabilities and unique learning needs. One such way that I'll strive to do so is by undertaking a course to learn Auslan, so that I can effectively communicate with students with hearing disabilities. The key aims of the Parents and Community Framework is to ensure schools are engaging with their community, supporting diversity and fostering engagement between parents and schools to support student learning potential. This framework is used to ensure parents and teachers are communicating so that parents are kept informed about the student's education and they can collaborate with the teacher to enhance their learning outcomes. This framework can be linked to several APSTs. However, one in particular is APST 7.3, Engage with the Parents and Carers. I observed this practice being utilised on my observation, as the school holds a parent-teacher interview night each term, in which they are able to have face-to-face conversations, and the teacher can update the parents on the student's progress throughout the term. In special cases, the teacher and parent can also collaborate to set learning goals for the student, which both parties will assist the child in reaching their goals. One way in which this framework can influence my teaching practices is that I'll aim to have weekly communication with parents and carers in the form of an email sent at the beginning of the week. This email will highlight the key topics I will be taught in the week and alert the parents of any assessment items that may be approaching. This will allow me to work with the parents to ensure the students are on track and keep the parents updated on their child's learning. This policy will influence my teacher identity by making me strive to be a knowledgeable, engaged member of the communities that I teach in. This could mean learning the Indigenous history of the land that the school resides on, or building relationships with relevant members of the community. I'll strive to be a fully committed and engaged member of the community I teach in. One professional learning need that I'll focus on developing is discovering an efficient method of communicating with parents and keeping them engaged. One such way that I could do so is by using an ICT program called ClassTing, which is an application that teachers can use to share work files and communicate with parents to keep them informed on their child's learning. The key aim of the leadership strategy is to strengthen the leadership capabilities of every individual in the education department to ensure everyone is working hard and collaboratively to effectively deliver educational outcomes. For teachers, a key aim of displaying effective leadership is taking accountability of students' results. One APST that relates to the leadership strategy is 6.3, Engage with colleagues and improve practice, as leadership requires teachers to be aligned to support educational outcomes. I observed this policy being implemented on my placement, with the school conducting department meetings each Monday, ensuring the teachers are all aligned on the delivery of their content to students. One example of how this strategy can influence my teaching practices is by encouraging me to take ownership of my students' results. To do so, I'll constantly be collaborating with other teachers and engaging in professional learning to reflect on my own methods and ensure I'm incorporating the most effective practices for my students' learning needs. This policy can influence my teacher identity by providing me with a pathway to pursue higher leadership roles, such as head of department or a head of house position. The leadership strategy provides a framework to assist in pursuing these high positions. My professional learning needs in relationship to this policy will be to focus on strengthening general skills that translate to being a strong leader, such as working on my confidence and ability to take charge in group situations. This can be worked on during the remainder of my degree, as I can use every opportunity I have to practice displaying leadership, such as leading group discussions in tutorials.